Hello, I'm Jonathan. Welcome to Vault 1541. Alright, today we're going to unbox the Sega Master System. Now, I received my Master System in 1987, which is a year after it released. You can see over here, it still has the price tag, which is $99.99. It cost more when it released, but I cannot find the actual price. So I'm not positive of the price, but I'll detail a little more of that in the blog. I'll have an entry to go along with this video. Alright, so here's the back of the box. So it comes with Hang On and Safari Hunt, which is a dual cartridge, both games on the same cartridge. The box is in pretty good shape. There's some tape though. 2 game pads, the light phaser, which is equivalent to the Nintendo Zapper. And their slogan, "Now there are no limits." Of course, NES blew it away. It didn't last too long. The Genesis came out in '89, so this only was around for 3 years before Sega moved on. They kept releasing it. They made a Master System 2 at a discounted price, but yeah, it was kind of probably pointless at that time, at least for the North American and Japanese markets. Alright, so the box is in pretty good shape. It has a little rip on the top, and initially it had a plastic handle so you could pick it up, but my handle broke. Okay, it has some annoying styrofoam. Keep this in frame. So, as every game comes with, they come with this foldable poster. It's smooth there. It's some artwork with a few different games on it. It says, "Take hold of the Sega Adventure." And then there's a bunch of games, screenshots on the back. I've got a pretty big stack of these. I think I have around 40 games, and each game comes with one. Okay, the instruction manual. It's a pretty standard manual, it's not very long. I will put some scans of this. See if I can find a page that's worth looking at. Put some scans of the cover and maybe an interesting image on the blog. It just shows you how everything hooks up. And when I get to the system, I'll show you the card slot, and there's a cartridge slot. Controllers. Have a little mini stick. I'll show you over here. You can pop out the center and put a disc or joystick in. Okay. And these are just other instructions for the Sega Light Phaser. Not a whole lot to read. You just plug it in and start shooting. Okay. Keep this. Lovely styrofoam. So, control pads, system, phaser, AC adapter, game, and some more hookups for the television. So, the best way to do this really. Here's one of the joysticks. I'm just going to take each thing out and place it on the table. The styrofoam kind of sticks to things after a while. I think a little on the cord here. So the gamepad is similar shape to the NES, it's just a rectangle. Although they don't have the separate D-pad, it's all one big. Which I guess makes it easier for some games, but probably annoying for a few others. 2 buttons. And this middle part is what pops out. The other one's already popped out. I'm just going to grab that. Alright, so they come with these mini sticks. Now this is not the most comfortable thing to use, but I actually did use them a lot. Most people probably didn't. I'd be surprised if you used them as much as I did, but So, and I'm holding it at a funny angle, but you just can, either you can hold it with your two fingers. And it feels more precision, like precise to me, but it's not, it's not comfortable. It's not really comfortable holding a rectangle either for a very long time. But I did use that a lot. So the other interesting thing about Sega, the Master System, and the Genesis is the control ports are the same as the Atari 2600 and the Commodore 64. So you can actually use these controllers as well as the Genesis controllers backwards. So you can plug a Genesis controller into here, into an Atari, into a Commodore. I used the Master System controller quite a bit on the Commodore until I got the Genesis. It's useful. I mean, you don't see that today. Now we get a lot of wireless controllers, but it's unlikely you'd ever see the same controller port on competing systems. Alright, let me grab the light phaser. Alright, light phaser. Oops, should have dusted it first. It is a little dusty. Just your standard light gun. But once again, like everything else, not very comfortable to use after a while. Basically because this is very square instead of rounded. I mean, my hands were a little smaller back then when I was a kid, so it would hurt after a while. Stand up. Okay, so this is the cartridge. We'll pop it open. So most games have the, call it a little maroon, matches the system. But later they did start revising them very late in development, and they used red and blue, mostly some blue, some red. I'm not exactly sure, I don't have any that are different colors because I stopped buying them by that point. So the cartridge goes in here. Now the other thing is there's a card slot right here. A few games are on cards, basically the size of a credit card, a little thicker, but this is the only card game I own. There's a few though, and they just slide in here instead of a cartridge slot. Not sure why they did that. Maybe they were cheaper to manufacture so they could be discounted. I think games basically retailed for $49.99. Card games may have been a little less. So here's your power button, and then up top you get a reset, pause, and just some design that lights up. I believe I'll plug it in. I guess it won't harm anything. You grab the adapter here. Let's see it light up. Just to get these monster plugs, these things are pretty heavy. Of course, the Xbox systems do have that power brick. Kind of phase those out. There we go. I don't know if you can see that, it turned green. The Master System, at least the original, does have a game built into it. It was a hidden game. You do some funky thing with the buttons, I believe. And it's like a snail game. You move a snail through a maze. Very exciting stuff. But hey, it's built in. Alright, that's pretty much everything. Unless you want to look at the cables. You can hook it up a few different ways. They have the standard RF things for the old TVs, but you also had a video and audio cable. It's just a single audio, so it's mono. So back then there weren't as many different TV types. I do have some accessories I'm going to show you. Let me start with the rapid fire control stick. This box is a little beat up, and I don't have the whatever was in here, probably cardboard. Move this. Everything out of the way. So the back gives you a demonstration here of what games look like with and without the rapid fire portion that it comes with. This is Wonder Boy and Monster Land, which is that tab right there. And this is Black Belt. Shows him kicking slowly and then kicking a lot. And with Wonder Boy, he's moving his sword a lot more with the rapid fire. Now, this controller is certainly more comfortable than the gamepad. Although they did it. They do it opposite. Here's the buttons. Like you control with your left hand, hit the buttons with your right hand. Here it's opposite. You control with your right hand, hit the buttons with your left. Not sure why they did that. I don't know if there's something. Two controllers that way. I mean, usually you control with your left and use your right hand on the buttons. Now the only instructions I have, I don't know if it came with more, is for the rapid fire units. Just shows you how to set it up, which is pretty straightforward. So you can either just use this as a basic controller, or any controller you can just plug into the rapid fire unit and then plug this into the system. Which is, you could always leave it that way, because the buttons, they have rapid fire options for each button of the switch. So you could rapid fire one button and not the other. Just convenient. Now this is kind of considered a cheat device, I guess. I did use it a fair amount. Admittedly, mostly on light phaser games, because, like I said, the light phaser is not comfortable. And with rapid fire unit, you can just hold the trigger rather than having to keep pressing it. And you just basically turn it into a machine gun. Now, if you're playing a game with limited ammo, of course that would not benefit you at all. But in a game like Gangster Town, the rapid fire unit makes the game so easy. Yeah, it's probably too easy, but if you can't get through the game, that's one way to do it. I also use this on the Commodore 64 quite a bit. It's a great way to cheat at the Epic's Olympic type games, because those games often had hit the button as fast as you can to run. Well, turn this on, hold down the button, you just outrun everybody. Alright, last item. Sega 3D glasses. Now, I can't really demo these. I'm not going to demo any games today either, but I will play them in the future. Now the 3D glasses also has the price tag. This is $49.99. Well, they're 3D. The different thing about these though, and the price, is they are powered by the system. Alright, pull out the manual first. There's not much here though. Just tells you, yeah, plug it in. You gotta have a 3D game, of course. They made a few 3D games. I only have, I think, 2 Missile Defense 3D and Maze Hunter 3D. They also have a Space Harrier. I want to say Outrun 3D. I have the original Outrun, and I have the original Space Harrier, so there wasn't much reason to buy it again in 3D. Probably would have liked those games more than the ones I have. Yeah, let me show you the back of the box first, although it doesn't really show you much else. And I guess they look kind of cool, but they are not comfortable at all, like many of these items. I guess back in the 80s they didn't really design for comfort, just functionality perhaps. Yeah, just drop these here. So they plugged into the card slot. Now the thing with the, I think I mentioned earlier, Sega did release a Master System 2 during the Genesis days, but the Master System 2 doesn't have the card slot, so if you want to try out the 3D glasses, you need to get the original. So obviously it won't work with card games either. So this goes in the card slot. And then the glasses just plug into that. And there you go. The screen, basically you have two, each eye gets a little window, and I'm not really a tech expert, but I think the window, like the little frames, they flicker really fast to give the 3D effect. It is like things are coming out of the screen, at least in Missile Defense 3D. Maze Hunter has more of a in-depth kind of image, similar to maybe the 3DS, where you're looking down into it. It's an overhead action game, so really all you're seeing in 3D, I mean, like I said, you see depth, but you see the character jump at you. When you jump, he comes up out of the screen. Now, mine are broken just slightly. I sat on them when I was a kid and they cracked. So they're pretty hard plastic. They do have a hook here. You can put something there, which is what you really need to do, like a rubber band, string, regular glasses kind of holder, because they'll fall right off your face without something holding them on. At least, here, I'll demo them, but I've got to take my glasses off for one. So, and yeah, they'll sit there if you don't move, but they'll fall right off, and it really hard. It's all hard plastic in here, so yeah, again, it's not comfortable. They need like some kind of cushioning there of some sort. I guess it does keep kids from playing for too long, because you'll start to feel the effects. It's not enjoyable. Alright, I don't think there's anything else to show you here. I'm going to do unboxing of the Genesis Game Gear. I don't have the original Game Gear. That's the it's a sports pack, came with a case. And well, that's about it. I like this system, and I can tell you a little bit more in the blog. I don't know if it's worth describing. Obviously the NES, the competition, most people know. Nintendo had most third parties under contract, so only Activision and Parker Brothers made games for the Master System beyond Sega. Sega did have a few other games, like it wasn't only Sega arcade games and things being ported. Like we saw Wonder Boy. This was originally made by someone else. I can't remember the company, but it was an arcade game, I think. At least the original. They do have Wonder Boy. This is Wonder Boy in Monsterland, and then Wonder Boy Dragon's Trap, which was recently remastered for computers. But they have a Double Dragon game, so Sega could license games from other companies and port them themselves, which is how you got some of the games like that. There's a Monopoly game. But otherwise, yeah, there weren't very many third-party games. I think Activision brought Rampage, a flight combat game similar to Afterburner. Yeah, okay, so not many. Well, like I said, I like it. There's enough games on it that I like. I really like these. I put Shinobi and Outrun out here because these are two of my favorites. I'll probably play them at some point for the YouTube channel. And I guess I'll say that's it. Check out the blog. I'll put photos of the items and I'll scan what I can. The scanner obviously isn't big enough, so I'll just have photos of some of these boxes. And thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully see you next time.